Welcome to part 1 of this week's episode of the Functional Idiots podcast. Subsequent parts will succeed this one throughout the week, so make sure you give those a listen as well. I thought you were just about to say from a neo-Nazi, and I was like, don't. The sheriff department will put up, like, the days or the week's mugshots. Bet you're going through that and there's a fucking picture. Why are you so mad about vegetables?
Well, let me tell you, they just sit in a wheelchair all day doing nothing. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Functional Idiots podcast. I'm Dylan, and I'm here with Colton, of course.
The cum caper himself.
The cum caker himself.
Caper.
Oh, caper.
Stupid prick.
Coverer. Welcome back. Episode 56. Surprised we got this far. No, I'm playing.
Yeah, I had to skip last week because Dylan was too busy banging the babysitter.
And the babysitter is my baby's mama.
What?
Huh? Just kidding. I don't have any kids yet.
No, they're all in his scrot still.
Yep, swimming around like little jackasses.
Yep. Like little retards. All right. Yes, anyways, skipped last week, but anyway, rolling in. It's the 22nd of December as we record this. So, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever the fuck animals. You spell. You know, if you don't celebrate Christmas, we'll see you at the movie theaters, or the Chinese restaurants where you'll get your fresh collection of cat and dog who froze out in the cold. So, let's roll right into it. So, being from the Mitten State, obviously, naturally,
yeah,
we are Detroit Lions fans, right? Have to be. It's a rule.
Yes, sir.
Now they lost last week. They played our week because it was week 15, right, or 16? No, week 15.
Week 15. Yep.
Week 15. They played the Buffalo Bills and an absolute fire or not fire sale. I'm sorry, absolute barn burner. 40. They lost their first game since week 2, so they had won 11 in a row, and then lost against the Bills 48-42 in Detroit. This week they play the
Bears.
The Bears. At Soldier Field. So, but I like that no one has gotten upset per se that the Lions lost, because I mean they've won 11 in a row, first time that's ever happened in the franchise, right? And if you look at how trashed their defense is from injury, honestly, it's amazing they only gave up 48 points. Because I mean, it's like what I thought was that 16 starters are fucking hurt. 16 of their starters are hurt amongst the defense and offense, and most of those being on defense. It's like, holy hell. Jared Goff freaking balling his absolute ass off, throws has 500 yards in the air almost, 5 touchdowns, and still loses. First quarterback to ever do that in the NFL. Like, think about that. Like, oh, yeah, you look at his stats. It's like, oh, he threw for 493 yards, had 5 touchdowns. Dude, this guy's kicking ass. What do you mean they lost? What? How do you lose?
I think this loss, like, I didn't care if we lost or not. I had a feeling going in we were going to lose just because it's not that I don't have hope or anything. It's just because, well, our defense is just, it's bare bones right now.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's
because we're running third string fucking players because our backups get hurt and shit. It's like, God damn it, dude.
Yeah, our defense is looking like is about as porous as a sieve right now.
But good things to say. The defense did step up.
That is true. It'll be so they're playing the Bears, which as long as they don't play against the Bears like they did on Thanksgiving, hopefully you'll win that game. Then they have the 49ers, who are like Detroit, injured as all hell. And then they finish up with the Vikings at home. It's losing against the Bills. Like, it didn't surprise me because the Bills have a pretty good offense because, well, Josh Allen. So that wasn't like a shock to me. And it's not like they got blown. If they would have lost like 48-12, I would have been like, okay, we got some fucking issue. Right? But they lost by 6. One touchdown would have tied it, and an extra point would have won it. So I'm not worried. I wasn't worried about that per se, because the offense was still kicking ass and taking names. And I mean, you have to think, if you keep putting up 493 yards through the air and 5 touchdowns, you can't lose too many games. I mean,
right.
you put up them kind of numbers, right? Eventually, you're gonna
holy shit.
You're gonna have to win some games. So, but on the other hand, this does not help Detroit in the sense of winning the NFC, because now the Eagles, the Lions, and the Vikings are all 12-2.
Yes, but however, when the Lions win out, because I believe they will, they have a good chance to. The 49ers suck, and we beat the Vikings once. I think we can do it again. The thing is we have a better conference record compared to both the Eagles,
right? So
Detroit,
correct. Detroit holds the tiebreaker.
So we're still number 1 seed.
Correct, as of right now.
Anyway, so give a little update. They just went from Chicago's 47-yard line in one play to Chicago's 17-yard line. Damn! 30 yards!
Absolutely balling. Well, they only just started because it's 1-12, so they literally just started. The Eagles are currently up 7-0 against the Redskins, although, of course, when this comes out, we already know the results. And then the Seahawks and the Vikings don't play until later today. They are a 4 o'clock time slot. It's definitely going to be interesting. So for Detroit to win, they have to for sure win 2 of their next 3. Without a doubt. If you only win 1 of your next 3 games, you're not going to win the NFC. Because the Vikings play the Packers, or they play the Seahawks, then the Packers, and then the Lions. The Eagles they're playing the Redskins right now, then they play the Cowboys, and then they play the Giants, which is a fucking gimme, right? If they lose against the Giants, that'll be hilarious as hell. The Eagles, definitely looking at schedule-wise, they have, in my opinion, the Lions have the easier schedule because 2 of the 3 games are against shitty opponents. The Eagles are second, and then the Vikings have the hardest because they have to play the Seahawks, which are actually
team.
They're decent. And then they have to play the Packers, which are pretty decent, and then you have to play the Lions, who obviously are pretty good. But if you look at it, I think the Eagles have the best chance just because they're not so injured.
Yep.
Like Detroit's trying to do this with one arm tied behind their back.
And and this is the thing that's getting me is, they're doing this and they're still playing decent football.
Right. I do think that losing to the Bills is actually a good thing, because if you keep winning games over and over again and you don't face any adversity during the season, I mean, you especially see it in the NHL. Teams
get a big head.
Yeah, exactly. You get a we can't do no wrong kind of mentality. I mean, like I say, you see it all the time in the NHL. There's the quote-unquote, the President's Trophy curse, the President's Trophy being awarded to the team who finishes first in the league with the most points. They hardly ever win the Stanley Cup. It's basically, if you win the President's Trophy, they're not going to win the Stanley Cup. Don't put money on them. It's one of them type of deals, because if you usually to win the President's Trophy, you have to be flirting with 120 points, which means you have to win 60 plus, about 60 games. Close to it, right? Out of an 82-game schedule. So you're only losing at most 20 to 24 games if you're going to win the President's Trophy. And so you don't face much adversity during the season. I mean, that's why if you look at it, the Patriots, they went all the way to the Super Bowl and never lost a game, and then they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. They went 19-1 or 18-1 it was. I guess. Was it 18-1 back then? I don't remember what the hell it was. I mean, only one team has ever been totally perfect, and that was the Dolphins at 17-0, the 72 Dolphins.
They weren't 17-0, they were 14-0.
If you include postseason.
Oh,
17-0. That's the perfect seasons, they always include the postseason. There's only been one team that's ever had a perfect record in the NFL. If you include actually like everything. But the Dolphins went 17-0. So it won't be. It'll be interesting the last 3 weeks. Like right now, the Vikings and the Lions, they are scheduled to play on Sunday and they don't have a time slot. I would not be surprised if that gets put onto Sunday Night Football, because I see that game being the deciding factor in who wins the NFC or wins the NFC, or is first in the NFC, I should say. Right now, if you could just be first or second, you'll get the bye, but you would like to be first because then you're guaranteed home field advantage through every game. So that would be ideal, but it'll be interesting to see rather. But sticking with football, the other thing that's going on right now that has started is the college football playoffs, which started Friday the 20th, with Notre Dame and Indiana. And then yesterday being, the 21st, Saturday the 21st, then there was SMU and Penn State, Tennessee and Ohio State, and Clemson and Texas. Every home team won, because I don't like this whole home game shit, because it's kind of unfair for the teams that get a bye, right? Oh, sweet, you get a bye, so you don't got to play, but you don't get a home game. I'd almost rather have the home game. The college would, because they can charge $400 a ticket and make a fuck ton of money. But Clemson fell to Texas 38-24. Ohio State walloped Tennessee 42-17. Obviously, they took the losing to Michigan thing personal. Penn State kicked the shit out of SMU 38-10, and then Notre Dame beat Indiana 27-17. I was actually watching that Indiana-Notre Dame game, and Indiana was making it interesting at the end because they had got a touchdown. They were down by 16 points, and they kicked an onside kick, recovered the onside kick, went down, scored another touchdown, but then on the 2-point conversion, they missed.
No.
And so it was like, well, now they still went and kicked an onside kick again, but it's like, okay, well, now you're down by 9 points. All right, you're going to have to go down, score a touchdown, get the extra point, and then do another onside kick and kick a field. Yeah, not going to happen. So it would have been really neat if they would have made the onside, or not the onside, the second 2-point conversion, because then they would have been down by 8. And then if they would have recovered the next onside kick and be like, holy shit, here they come. But no, it wasn't meant to be. So now going into the quarterfinals, it's going to be Texas and Arizona State. Arizona State having the bye, winning the Big 12. I think Big 12. I don't remember. I think they're in the Big 12. Ohio State's going to play Oregon because Oregon won the Big 10 championship game. Penn State's going to play Boise State. Boise State had the bye, winning their conference championship game. And then Notre Dame's going to play Georgia, who won the SEC championship game. Georgia and Notre Dame are going to play they are in the All-State Sugar Bowl, which is a 8:45 game on New Year's Day. Penn State and Boise State are going to play on New Year's Eve at 7:30 in the VRBO Fiesta Bowl. The Rose Bowl is going to be Ohio State and Oregon on New Year's Day, obviously. And then the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl is also on New Year's Day at 1 p.m. So, and all those games are on ESPN. It's going to be interesting. So, like, right now, Texas is favored over Arizona State by 14.
Damn.
Absolute ass-kicking, right? Okay, the next lowest, or the next closest spread is Penn State and Boise. Penn State's favored by 10.5. But then Ohio State's favored over Oregon by 2.5, and Georgia's favored over Notre Dame by 1.5. So definitely the Ohio State-Oregon game and the Notre Dame-Georgia game are the games. Those are going to be the two games that should be the best two games. And obviously with Ohio State, their one loss, their only other loss in the season besides Michigan, was to Oregon earlier in the year.
Right.
So that's going to be a rematch, and if Ohio State wins this, it'd be like, oh, well, yeah, you beat us, but we beat you in the more important game. So I see Texas kicking the shit out of Arizona State because, well, Arizona State's kind of only there because they won their conference. I mean, that's kind of they went to 12 teams because people bitched about how the 4-team playoff system worked, but this 12-team one is kind of even more silly. Like, there are teams in here who should not be in here because they won their conference. Like, I'm sorry, Arizona State, 0 fucking chance of winning the national championship. Not going to happen. Boise State, yeah, fucking right. Right? You're not going to win the fucking national championship. So there's no perfect system because of how the ranking system works in college football. But I think just giving first round buys to teams who win their conference, besides the Pac-12, I don't know about that. I mean, obviously Georgia, that's not going to be, they're most likely going to be good, right? They won the SEC championship game. Yeah, you won the SEC. Yeah, you deserve the first round bye. Same thing with Oregon, right? One of the two biggest strongest conferences. I understand that one. Understand those. Especially Oregon is the only one that's still undefeated. It's going to be interesting. But it's funny how if you look at it, right, like because now we're getting into bowl game season. The premier bowl game used to be the Rose Bowl, right? Like if you could get to that was the bigger the bowl. Obviously, it was always a Big Ten team versus a Pac-12 or Big 12. I don't remember, but it was always a Big Ten team and something else. But obviously, the Rose Bowl was like the bowl game. That was the big bowl game. Now it's like it's just like another game now. Like it doesn't really mean a fucking thing anymore. Like it's now, before it was at least in the semifinals. Like you had to win the Rose Bowl to go play in the national championship. Now it's like, oh, you win the Rose Bowl, you still got to win fucking one more game to get to the national championship. Like what? Like it's even less fucking important now than what it was like 10 years ago before this started. Why? Because money. It's all about money. It's all about money. So I see, looking at this, I hope Oregon kicks the shit out of Ohio State because, well, fuck Ohio State. Texas is going to kick the shit out of Arizona State. I'm not surprised by that. Penn State should kill Boise State. I'm surprised Georgia's only favored over Notre Dame by 1.5.
Yeah.
But I think Georgia should win that game, but Notre Dame will definitely give a run for their money. I don't think it won't be a pushover game. So, and same thing for Notre Dame. I think the best thing that happened to them this year was losing that game to NIL or Northern Illinois. That was the best thing that could happen to them, was being embarrassed by paying a college $1.4 million to go to South Bend and then fucking beat you. Like, ouch, man. Big oofs.
Yeah, big oofs. Oof size, big.
Yeah, oof size, largest ever. Like that, and then they went to Purdue the next week and absolutely slaughtered Purdue like 66-0. Like they took that personal. Poor Purdue was like, God damn it. But it's going to be interesting for sure to see how this shakes out. Now, we obviously have to wait a week and a half because the 4 bowl games play on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And then after that, it's another week and a half for the semifinals. The Goodyear Cotton Bowl is on January 10th, and then the Orange Bowl is on January 9th. So, and then the national championship plays on January 20th. So, what day is January 20th?
That is my penis enlargement day.
Okay. Not 29th, 20th. I see. I also have it here, okay? God. Oh, so, well, you can look at it. January 20th is also Inauguration Day, so... Yeah, you can watch the president get sworn in and then go watch the national championship. But, okay. And then sticking with one more thing with football, okay? Obviously, the greatest thing ever, the funniest thing ever was Michigan beating Ohio State. But after the game, everybody was talking about the flag planting thing, right? Michigan tried to plant a Michigan flag inside the Ohio State O at the middle of the field. Ohio State, after being embarrassed, got even more butthurt, went and it was it was stupid, right? It was all stupid. Well, it got because this isn't the first time that a team has planted a flag inside the bullseye that's in the middle of the horseshoe in Columbus. A Ohio State representative, I believe, and the Ohio State government brought up a bill to make flag planting on Ohio State's football field illegal.
Get the fuck out of here.
You want to talk about mega butthurt? You're going to make a fucking law banning flag planting inside the horseshoe because your team doesn't know how to win a fucking football game. Are you that butthurt about it? You know how you could fix this problem? Just win the fucking football game. Problem solved. It's not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen because it's stupid. And plus, it wouldn't be constitutional because it would be against the freedom the First Amendment, freedom of speech. Flag plant. It's so stupid. I mean, I would not be surprised if the NCAA makes a rule this year or after the end of this year of no more flag planting because first of all, it's just stupid, right? To plant a flag, but then also now it's just getting there's too much writing on it. People get upset and then it just looks bad. It looks stupid. So I would not be surprised if they make it. Just don't do that shit, right? If you do it, your school's going to be fined like $100,000 or whatever the hell they're going to do. But I just thought, I'm like, really? Are you that upset that your Buckeyes suck ass? They could not beat Michigan, who is even worse, that we're going to make a law banning flag planting. Like, that fucker should be thrown out of office just for even thinking of that. That is so stupid. That is so stupid. Almost as stupid as firing Ryan Day. People wanted to fire Ryan Day, the Ohio State head coach, because he can't beat Michigan. He's like 43-1 against everyone else. The only other game he's lost since coaching Ohio State in the Big Ten was Oregon earlier this year. And people want to fire him because he can't beat Michigan. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. You can't beat one team, so we need to fire this head coach. Why? Because he can't beat one team? He could win every game, lose to Michigan, win the national championship, and they'll still want him fired because he can't beat Michigan.
Well, it's just like the fucking Eagles. All right, like Nick Sirianni, he's a good coach, just a fucking asshole, right?
I think he's a hack of a coach, but personally,
he's winning games, right? He's winning games. That's all that should matter. But unless you're the Cowboys, and then making money is all that matters. But that's besides the point,
right?
But yeah, so I don't ever understand, like, let's get rid of the coach because he's making bad plays and shit. It happens. Get over it.
Right,
did you win the game? Yeah, but I didn't like the way we won it. Shut the fuck up.
Did you win the game? Well, yeah. Go home then. You got what you wanted, right? Oh yeah. Shut the fuck up. It's just people need to bitch about something. Like, I understand. Like, say the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl like 4 years in a row, right? And then they lose all 4 years. I can understand making a change, right? Okay, obviously he can't get them over the hump. I would understand that, right? But and obviously college is different because you don't have a set roster. It's constantly there's constant turnover within the roster. But within college, like, you can't beat one team, so we need to fire the coach. It's just dumb. Like, if you take the Ohio State Michigan thing out of it, you can't beat this one team, so we have to cut you loose. It's so stupid. It is so stupid. And obviously, Ryan Day is obviously not a bad coach, right? If you look at his record, he's like 43-2 against Big Ten teams or against regular season teams, not just Big Ten, but regular season teams outside of postseason or bowl games. He's 43-2. Like, that's a pretty fucking good record for college. That's a damn good record. And the bonuses he has now is that before, I could see it a little bit prior to how the college football playoffs work now. When it was only 4 teams, I could understand it more because usually whoever won between Michigan and Ohio State was going to play in the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
So, because the other one would most likely have a perfect record and the other one would have would be 10 or would be 11-1 or 10-1, whatever the record is for college. So I understand that, what would happen is whoever wins that game is going to play in the Big Ten championship game. And then most likely they're going to be whoever's in the Big Ten, they're playing in the Big Ten championship game. So they're going to be in the college football playoffs. So I understand it why you would do the change, but now it makes even less sense, right? You actually lost 2 games this year, one to Oregon, who is the best team in the country, per the rankings, and then you lost to Michigan. Okay, and you only fell to 8th, which really, to me, is a fucking crime that you only fell 5 spots, losing to an unranked team at home. But now, and you still made the college football playoffs. So there would be even less reason now to fire him, because you're still making it to the process of where you want to go.
Yeah, right.
It's just dumb. But I mean, it shows you how much the game runs deep through OSU fans.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not just them. I remember people when Harbaugh couldn't beat Ohio State, and they were saying we need to fire Harbaugh. It's like, really? We can't beat this one team, so we need to fire a good head coach. You know, and good head coaches aren't just growing on fucking trees, man.
Yeah, no shit.
Right? It's like, okay, you fire him. It's like, who are you going to replace him with? You have to think that. Who out there is currently available that's good? Right? Unless you promote within. But who out there is going to take his spot? It's not just firing the guy. You have to think of who's going to replace him. And is it actually going to be better? Are you going to be better off? And that's why people who work at McDonald's don't run anything worth a damn within life. So, because they don't know how shit works. But it's just dumb. It's just absolutely dumb and ludicrous. So, what is this thing here? Wow, Dylan's all fired up, or not fired up. He wants to bring up this new Superman movie, Darian.
Oh God.
Meanwhile,
it's pretty good.
Meanwhile, he's cranching. So you've watched the movie?
No, you fucking idiot! It doesn't come out till next year.
But how do you know it's pretty good?
The teaser from it alone was pretty good. That's what I'm talking about.
You can make a shitty movie look great through a trailer.
With some teaser, not a trailer. Teaser. So it's a little tease.
Okay,
anyways,
why are you so fired up, or so amped up about
it? There's a number of things. One thing I always felt that the Superman movies didn't really convey is the fact that, unfortunately, David Cornsweat is fucking 6'3", so it's a little harder for him to do.
Wait, back up. His last name is Cornsweat?
Corn Sweat.
Oh, Corn Sweat. I thought you said Corn Sweat. I'm like, dude, the minute I turn 18, I'd be changing that shit right then. Like, rolling right down to the fucking county courthouse, and I'm changing that motherfucker. Not a chance in hell I'm going through my life with the last name Corn Sweat.
So anyways, James Gunn is directing it. Right, and he directed the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I know you don't care about that, but all 3 of those movies, really, really good, right?
Boring!
So now he's the head of DC for creative purposes. But, so, back to the topic. One thing I felt that the movies didn't do was give Clark Kent and Superman their own, like, personalities, right? And it's hard to do that in the movies because, well, they're the same fucking person, right?
What do you like? What do you mean, like personality? Like
different haircut, just a different vibe overall, right?
Well, it's because you're following comics.
Right. Well, the comics, show Clark as like a shorter guy. He doesn't have the hair parted like normally, like Superman does, and oh my God! Sorry,
right, but it's
the Lions game.
Right, but it's the whole look. Like, imagine if Batman rolled instead of in a black suit, rolled out in a pink suit. Like, it'd be like, what the fuck is this?
But
it's the whole mantra, or whatever you want to call it, with Batman. He wears the
secret identity.
Yeah. He wears the black mantra. You look at him, you're like, yep, that's Batman because of how he looks. Like, yep, that's Superman. Yep, that's Captain America. That's the Hulk. It's easy to scream big fat bastard. But
yeah, but that's the thing. You're not supposed to go, oh, that's Superman dressed as Clark Kent. You're supposed to go, that's Clark Kent. Because they're the same but different people.
I understand.
Here's the thing. Bruce Wayne is the mask for Batman. Batman is the true identity. Superman is the mask for Clark Kent. Clark Kent is who he is.
Right. It's the opposite.
Right. So, but in this movie, I saw the teaser trailer, and now obviously they don't exactly look different, right? Because they're the same person. But there is a difference, and it's very nice to see that difference in the movie. Like, Clark is this clumsy... It's a lot like the 1978 version. Except, again, in the 1978 version, I felt as though they didn't quite capture Clark Kent's essence. Because he still had the hair parted, and he was still kind of like a tough... Like, not quite a tough guy, but he was not afraid to get his hands dirty, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, he's like, he gets asked a question, he looks around like, yes, sir? It's like, what the fuck? Who are you?
You pussy ass looking motherfucker.
But, yeah, he does, they do a great job.
Wow.
Well, he does a great job.
At least in the teaser. You'll find out.
At least in the teaser.
When does this waste of $13 come out?
July 11th.
Jesus Christ. Fucking 8 months from now? Goddamn.
That's why it's only a teaser, my guy.
Fuck me.
But Lex Luthor's going to be in it. Guy Gardner, who's a Green Lantern, is going to be in it. Oh. Guy Gardner's going to be in it. Hawkgirl's going to be in it. Crypto, the super dog's going to be in it. Finally, on the main screen, Crypto's going to be here.
All right, give me a crash course. Who's this Crypto guy?
Crypto is Superman's dog, except he comes from Krypton.
Okay, I kind of picked that one up, but
yeah, Super Dog pretty much has the same powers as Superman, just a dog.
Yeah, so
not as tough, obviously, because he's a fucking dog, but
right, he gets too tough, he turns into Chinese food.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Lines are up 13-0. End of the first quarter, 2 seconds left.
Yeah, I see that. Google is a little bit behind everything else.
I'm watching it live, literally.
Oh, that's good for you. Well, so obviously I know you are big into the superhero movies.
Yes, huge.
And I know during the Marvel, like the whole end of the Marvel, I don't know if you want to call it the cinematic universe, but Endgame and all the movies that led that.
Yeah. And
I know overall, DC movies have not quite been to what Marvel movies have been as of late.
Right, yes. Correct.
With the exception kind of being the Batman movies, but that's because that's kind of its own thing. If that makes sense. Do you think that this will help rejuvenate the DC movies?
Yes. So James Gunn pretty much has the same idea going forward with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, he's already done two big things with Superman that people didn't really like because, well, he's restarting the universe. So essentially he took Henry Cavill out of the picture. As much as he liked Henry Cavill, he just, starting fresh, right?
Yeah.
Henry Cavill's too old to do another decade, unfortunately, of Superman stories.
Right.
So, get somebody younger, shit like that. So, and then they canceled the Superman and Lois TV show because James Gunn wants one Superman on the big screen at all times, right? Which makes sense.
Right.
Unless you're going to do other projects and shit. His idea is no matter what IP, so animation, TV, movies, the actors that play the heroes in the movies are going to play the heroes in the animated form, TV shows, everything.
Okay.
To keep it all linear.
Right.
So, makes sense. Now, I hope to God, really hope that they take Robert Pattinson as Batman. Because his Batman with David Cornsweet's Superman, oh, buddy.
Well,
that shit would be that would feed families for decades.
Pattinson's played Batman in the last movie, didn't he?
Yeah, and they're going to release another movie this year.
Okay.
Or no, next year, sorry.
2026. 2026. Yeah, The Batman Part 2. It's my thing is like with the Marvel thing, because that wasn't really started until like when Iron Man came out. And when did the first Iron Man movie come out? Like early 2000s? When?
2008.
2008. But okay, so that late 2000s then. But that's kind of when like the Marvel thing kind of really started going, right?
So the Superman movie is acting as the exact same starting point, except for the DCU, not Marvel.
Right, I understand it. But what I'm saying is that it's with Superman, the first movie came out in the 70s. It's kind of, it's like the same thing over and over again, right?
Right.
It's like, how do you make it different? You know, it's kind of the same thing with Batman. It's like, it's Batman versus the Joker. Every fucking time, it's the same shit over and over again.
You know why? This is how they do it. This is how they do it. Now, it's crazy because this is exactly what they started doing. They're going back, right? And instead of using the well-known characters that everybody knows that's going to happen, they don't. For example, the Superman movie has a whole bunch of people in it. Never happened in a Superman movie because it's a Superman movie, right?
Right.
Except instead of just being Lex Luthor, because it's always Superman, Lex Luthor, right? Instead of being just Lex Luthor, it's going to be Metamorpho, who is another, I think he's a villain or anti-hero, one of the two. And then I'm pretty sure Brainiac. So those are two, well, one of them is an anti-villain and one is a villain for Superman.
Okay. So, but they're at least doing something different, per se. Because I've never gotten into the superhero things because that doesn't tickle my fancy. But at least with the Marvel thing, I mean, they strung it all together, obviously over 12 or 14 years. But it was like, because you'd start off with Iron Man, then you had you got walked around to the Avengers, but then you had like backstory movies for each character, right?
Yeah.
And then it all grouped back together, and you're going against Thanos, and you had the fucking Infinity Stones, and it ended with obviously Endgame and shit like that. So at least that it wasn't like Iron Man 15 times, same shit happens over and over again. Where it's like that's where it kind of is with like, you know, like with the Batman movies, at least they've, especially with the three Christopher Nolan ones, there was at least something. It was different because they actually took a slightly different direction to it, in my opinion. And then
they made it more like realistic,
right?
If you will.
You know, it wasn't so cartoony, if that makes sense.
It's kind of the same thing with Robert Pattinson's Batman. It seems to be more on like the realistic side, except there's still like if you're taking a shotgun to the chest, you're not getting back up from that. You're getting knocked the fuck out, right?
You're right. You are down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah,
he's off. He's off.
Yeah.
Except in the Batman, he like fucking gets blasted, and he's like, oh, you know, got that fucking grape girl going on. He takes adrenaline and sticks it in himself.
Yeah.
And fucking, you know, gives himself adrenaline, and he beats the fuck out of this dude that shot him with a shotgun. It was fucking great. But like that type of shit wouldn't happen in real life. You'd get fucking ass blasted and probably have a heart attack or something because you're like point blank range wearing fucking armor. You're not getting back up. You are absolutely not getting back up. Unless, of course, you're Batman. Then, yeah.
Right. Because you're Batman, but yeah.
And this is why I want at least the Batman universe to be part of the DCU, because Matt Reeves, bruh, Jordan just texted back. But Matt Reeves made the Batman universe in a very good way. Not a lot of people know this, but Batman is supposed to be in a like a neo-noir esque setting, right? So it's not Christopher Nolan's realistic setting, and it's definitely not Ben Affleck's like futuristic setting, right?
Right.
So you have to meet like, where you're like, they're driving 50s style cars, but they're not 50s style cars. They're, modernized and stuff. And that's exactly what the Batman did, except obviously didn't use 50 styles cars. They just used a setting of like, okay, yeah, this is neo-noir where you have gangsters and stuff like that. And like, that was Batman's first few years as Batman, is fighting gangsters and shit like that. And then out of nowhere, all these crazy motherfuckers are like, I want a piece of the bat. And it's like, okay, you fucking weirdos. Let's I guess we can run with this shit. But yeah, that's kind of the thing is, so Matt Reeves did a pretty good job capturing at least the essence of Gotham City and Batman being more of a detective than just I'm gonna beat this guy the fuck up.
Yeah. Where's Rachel? Where are the drugs? Where are the drugs? Yeah, it's so they could do something different. And one thing, I understand with movies because you always need to have a happy ending, right? But it almost gets to the point where, especially in the superhero movies, where it's too formulaic, if that makes sense.
Except there's, and unfortunately it's one exception. Infinity War. And that is it. That is the only superhero movie that doesn't have a happy ending.
Right. And so that's how, and they don't do enough movies like that. But like every single movie is always formulaic. And I understand you want a formula because you got to have the pacing, right? But it's always the same, right? Starts off, bad guy does something that constitutes having Superman, Batman, Iron Man, or whoever the fuck show up. They have a first fight. Dude gets his, good guy gets his ass whooped, goes back, trains, does a whole bunch of other bullshit. Bad guy goes on a fucking spree, having free range of everything. Finally meets up with the good guy, and then the good guy beats him in some dramatic fight. End of movie, roll credits. It's the same thing over and over again, and unless it's like Infinity War, where it's like, holy shit, half of them are dead. It's like, well, that's different.
It's like, oh fuck, and we gotta wait a year to see the end of it. Pretty much, it's like, yes, sir.
Yeah, like that is, but it wasn't. But even still within that, it was still a little formulaic, right?
Yeah.
They slowly got better to beat Thanos, except instead of spanning it within a 2-hour movie, they spanned it over 2-hour movies. To where the boss fight, the first big boss fight or whatever, Thanos ends up quote unquote winning because he snaps his fingers and then, shit goes south. So it's just, do something different. Like, I get you have to keep the pacing, but something different, man.
So I will have to say, Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy also doesn't really seem to follow that formula. And now the only thing that it follows is where the good guy wins in the end. But if you take a look at The Dark Knight, they don't really like fight each other all too often. It's like little head-to-head things, but then either the Joker always escapes or he outsmarts Batman. And then Batman has to be like, okay, how the fuck did he do it? And then he has to, push boundaries with like Lucius Fox and shit. Like, yeah, by the way, you're going to have to spy on every single person in Gotham City just to know where the fucking Joker is. And Lucius Fox is like, well, motherfucker, this is the last thing I'm doing. And then I quit.
Yeah.
And and then, of course, in the end, Batman wins, but not without, failing. Like, Batman doesn't get the girl. She dies. Harvey Dent, he has to take the blame for Harvey Dent dying, that Batman killed him and that he killed all those people. Batman took on that shoulder, not anybody else.
Right. Right,
And
but it wasn't all. But
said.
like you said, at the end of the movie, it wasn't all roses.
Yeah. So it's,
You know, there was a shit sandwich within those roses. Same thing with there was a shit sandwich within that. Obviously, because it was left on a cliffhanger on purpose, but coming out of that, shit sandwich. So it's something different. Now, like I said, I get you can't do that for every movie because not every movie you can set up for sequels, right? Like your fucking romantic comedies, you can't set that up for a sequel. Understand that, you know. But with the Superman stuff, it's kind of or not just Superman, but the superhero stuff overall, it's just too formulaic for me. Like, the only difference between the superheroes is their personalities.
Yeah.
That's the only difference, right? You're like, oh, well, this guy has this power, this guy has that. If the only difference is their personality, and that only comes through with how good was the writing staff writing that movie. Okay? If you have Iron Man quality writing staff, you're going to have a really good superhero. If you have the shit we've had the last 4 years since the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, quote unquote, it's garbage, right? If you have what DC had for the last one, it's all shit. All movies are obviously relying on good writing, but especially with superheroes, because the only difference is their personality.
Another issue that I take with criticizing the MCU is that, don't get me wrong, there has been, like, for example, Thor: Love and Thunder. Didn't like that movie. That movie was absolutely trash. But the issue is that you have Endgame, right? And now everybody's like, okay, where does Marvel go from here? Oh, well, they can only go up. No, they can't. They have to step back to build another chapter of the MCU, which was supposed to be the multiverse, which they tried doing. Like, Multiverse of Madness wasn't a bad movie. It was entertaining. I don't think it was a strong Marvel movie, but it was entertaining nonetheless. The issue is that people just come in with, like, okay, this has to be better than Endgame, otherwise it's not good. Whoa. Chill. It doesn't have to be like that. Another example is, like, everybody's scared about Captain America: Brave New World because you're introducing a new character late into the MCU, Red Hulk, and then, but people are excited because you're bringing it back to Captain America: Winter Soldier, where it was like a, secret kind of, Black Ops type situation, right?
Right.
Working outside the law and shit like that. But that was my big issue, is that all these people that complained only complained because they're like, well, it isn't as good as Endgame. It's not going to be. It's not going to be. Guess what? It took them 10 years. 10 fucking years to build this whole universe up. Right? So you're going to have to think, okay, if they're restarting at this point, right? Get rid of Thanos. Who's going to be their next big bad? Who's going to take that role? Well, they got plenty of big guys. Galactus, Doctor Doom, shit like that. So that's why they're doing, like, Secret Wars and shit, to give it a soft reboot.
Right.
Because people were too fucking picky. Oh, well, there's a hair missing out of place on here. Fucking Endgame wouldn't miss it. Shut the fuck up. And there's nothing against you, Colton. I know you don't give a fuck, but...
Well, I wouldn't know. I'm not shitting on Endgame. It's just...
Yeah.
With me, the thing that I don't like about superhero movies is that there is a kind of a set formula, but they never... very few movies stray from that formula. Right? Like you said, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, it strayed from that formula and made a good job. Right? Like, the reason the formula is there is because it's proven it works. That's why there's the formula, right? If you have a formula for cake, you're obviously going to follow that recipe. You're not going to change it because, yep, this one works for good cake. I'm not going to fuck it up. I'm not going to fucking change it. So I get that. And so if you're going to change it, you have to have someone running the show who knows what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
And then, so you have to have a good writing staff. You have to have a good writing staff for the formula because they basically just have to hit the bullet points. But if you're going to go outside that formula, you have to have an exceptional writing staff. Then you also have to have the proper actors, right? You can't just you have to have someone in there who is actually can do that role that the writing staff wants, actually fits it. And I think that's been kind of part of some of the problems too, is that it's been there's been actors in there that it's like they aren't the best fit for this role. Yeah. It's like this was the best we could find. Like you couldn't find anyone to be like, hey, you want to be in the lead role in a Marvel movie? Like that's all you would have to say. And you would get a shitload of people be like, hell yeah. Because I know what that means, right? It's going to generate like $400 million at the box office, right? I'm going to make a shitload of money. So there's that. And then you have to have a reason for doing it though. Like just making the movie out of the point of making the movie is not how you should just make a movie. Right. Like if you don't have a reason to make a movie about Captain America, then don't make one. If you don't have a reason to make a movie about Black Panther, then don't make one. Like, don't just do it for the sake of making movies and spending money. Because if you don't have a proper plot, and that's been the main problem with Hollywood lately, is that their plots all suck ass. Right? The general public may be stupid, but a lot of us can figure out that movie sucks because of the plot. Right. And if your plot's not good, everything will fall apart. A plot cannot be propped up, can only be propped up so much or by good acting. But if the plot sucks, even good acting is not going to change it. Yeah, the actor might win Best Actor because he did a good job being the lead role in, the shit-tacular 6,000. But that doesn't mean the movie was good. So and I think that's the problem, is that there's not enough. They're trying to make every movie like Infinity War and Endgame. You can't do that. And what I mean by that is by the success of it, the quality of it. You can't do that because it took 12 years to build up the story to make that movie. You can't just make it in your normal 2.5-year production. You needed 12 years to make that movie, to have all the backstory on it. So, and I think some of the general public's like, oh, we want it now. You can't have it now. It's not how shit works.
And here's another issue that I take with it, right? Is, for example, this new Superman movie. Different suit, except it combines elements from the comics. And I gotta say, when the suit first came out, I was like, that's the Kingdom Come logo. Why the fuck are they using it? Right? Because I wasn't like a huge fan of the suit. It's grown on me. I like it because it's different. And that's the issue, is that you do something different, or people get used to one thing for so long that you do something outside of the lines and they're like, it fucking sucks, it's stupid, you can't do that shit, it's gonna make the movie fucking garbage. It's like, chill the fuck out. Give it a fucking chance, dude. The whole point of Superman is not his fucking suit, alright? It's what he fucking does, alright? Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, now right, you can fuck it up by giving him a pink suit, but it's not like Batman, where that is, if you fuck up Batman's suit, yeah, that would be a massive problem, because that's kind of what makes, he doesn't have superpowers.
Well, people started complaining because James Gunn was also eyeing black actors to play Superman. And people were like, oh, you can't do that. That only happens in a different world. It's like, so fucking what? What if it's a movie about this specific world and it's a black Superman? Get the fuck out of here. Because that happened in the comics. Like, there was a multiverse. And, like, you have the Man of Steel, literally Man of Steel, where he has a hammer and a suit of steel. And then you have, Black Superman. Well, I don't know what his fucking name is. God damn it. Gonna piss me off. Anyways, you have him, right? And then you have, there's Superwoman, obviously, his cousin or whatever. Oh, that's Supergirl, sorry. Superwoman is Lois Lane, or it's a different version of Superman. So, it's just like, guys, it's a fucking multiverse. Who the fuck cares? That's what makes it good. Like, you have different iterations. That's the good thing, is that you can tell so many stories with these different iterations. But James Gunn is going in a smart direction where he's like, okay, we're going to start off slow, right? We're going to get all of our actors in order, and we're going to keep those actors, and they're going to play the same character over a number of years, right? And then we'll branch out.
Yeah. I think, but the problem, if he's just hiring a black actor for the sake of it.
No, absolutely not. James Gunn.
James Gunn.
Yeah, James Gunn. James Gunn, if you know anything about his style, he does not do that shit. Like Zoe, I forgot her fucking name. The girl that plays Gamora, he didn't select her because she was black. He selected her because she was the best fit for the role. And she did a good job as Gamora, right? So
sure, I wouldn't know. Don't ask me.
Yeah, I know. But James Gunn doesn't play around with that shit. He's gonna stick true to the comics, and if he feels somebody is gonna be good for a role, he will hire them no matter what. Black, white, Asian, it don't fucking matter. He's like, I don't care. You're fucking good enough for me. I don't give a fuck. You're gonna do good in this movie. That's all I care about.
If that's how he's going about it, then that's fine, right? But if you're, and I know this has happened in other movies, hiring someone of a different ethnicity or race or whatever just for the sake of it, that's stupid, right? I don't care if you can find someone who is black, but they are a really good actor and would fit really well with Superman, cool. But if you're just going to hire a black actor just to check the diversity box on your movie, that's retarded. Okay, because they could be a shit actor, but at least he's black. No, but he sucks. I'm sorry, he does not. He does not fit the Superman role at all, and he can't act. Right, my left testicle can act better than his ass, and that's been the problem, is that movies have been doing that. They're hiring people of different diversities just for the sake of it, just to say that they did. But are they a good actor? That's like, if you could find a black Peter Parker, cool. If he can actually do the Peter Parker for Spider-Man, awesome.
They wouldn't actually do that because we have Miles Morales, a black Spider-Man.
Right, but he actually does a good job, is what I'm saying. He's just not like, yep, we have a black Spider-Man just to say we have a black Spider-Man.
Right.
And so if it's because he's not doing that, in the sense that he's just saying that if we find someone who is not white, but they do a really good job, yeah, they have a chance to get the role. I'm fine with that. But if he's saying that, kind of like the whole Joe Biden, we're going to put a black female on the Supreme Court because they're black and female, that's not right.
But one issue I took, like, let's stay on the woke train for a second, because I fucking hate it as well. Hate that shit. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm all about equal opportunities for everybody. It just depends if you're good, right? Like, come on now.
Yeah,
my big issue is was with the whole Little Mermaid thing. Like, they hired Halle Berry. I think that's her name.
I think that sounds about right.
I didn't watch the movie, and I'm not going to sit here and criticize Disney for hiring a black person to play the Little Mermaid, because it's a made-up character. Who fucking cares? Well, she's supposed to have red hair and be white. Yeah, in the fairy tale. It doesn't matter in the fucking movies. Christ. That's the issue I take. Now, another thing is replacing comic book characters with either the opposite gender or whatever, I take issue with that because not only are you taking away from the character, for example, Taskmaster in the Black Widow movie. Turns out she was a female. People got pissed off by it because, not only are you taking away from Black Widow's ability to fight a man in hand-to-hand combat because she can, but you also take away from that character. That character, was originally a man, and then it eventually, led it to, I believe, his daughter taking over his role after he died. So you had that progression. Whereas in the MCU, you didn't. You just hired Taskmaster as a female to create shock value. And I don't appreciate. Like, take your time with it. Like, fuck, dude. So annoying.
Yeah. And I didn't specify any movies because most of them have been down to Disney doing that. If I did not see the Little Mermaid remake because really, I don't fucking care. Right?
Yeah, I don't either.
You will not see my ass watching fucking Little Mermaid. But
under the sea. Yeah, no, we're not. No.
If she's actually, because with the Little Mermaid, you can't just have someone who's a good actor. You have to have someone who can also sing. So right now you've taken you already have it has to be a female role, right? Because obvious, right? That's the only kind of hang up. It has to be a female role because can't
have like John Cena fucking playing this shit.
You know what? Actually, I would want to see that. I think that would be fucking hilarious. That might actually be fucking funny. Do like a spoof movie of Little Mermaid, except it's John Cena.
John Cena?
Yeah, do like Spaceballs kind of thing.
It's the Little Mermaid. No, it's not. His name is John Cena.
But for that movie, you can't just have someone who's a good actor. You have to have someone who can also sing.
Yeah.
Right. So now
which Halle Berry can do both. So
right. So you've narrowed that pool down a lot, right? And now you say we can only obviously have a female actress, right? So now it's even narrower of a pool, or smaller of a pool you can draw from. If they truly drew someone out of it who they felt was the best out of everyone available, and they so happen to be black, that's fine. The problem is it's Disney, and I don't trust them.
Right.
So it would not surprise me if they did choose her because she was black. Not saying they did, but also not saying they didn't. Like I said, the thing is, they might not have done that. The problem is they're Disney.
Not did that.
Yeah, the problem is they're Disney World, and I don't trust them because they do some stupid ass shit when it comes to shit like that. Right, that's right up fucking Disney's alley, is to do that type of dumbass stuff. But also too, it's like, why are we making a remake of a movie that came out 25 years ago, 30 years ago?
Right,
are we seriously out of ideas?
Or another question here, or another thing here. They're remaking Snow White. Now, Snow White I can understand, because the last time Snow White came out was in the fucking 30s. All right, it's almost been 100 fucking years, right?
Yes.
So, not surprised that they would want to make a remake, and it's a live-action remake, just like the rest of the remakes that they're coming out with.
Yeah, just like...
Don't have an issue with any of the actors they pick. Don't care, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bob thing is kind of weird. Like, the actress that has Snow White's hair... Little weird. It's a little weird looking. Lord Farquaad vibes, right?
Yeah, they didn't do her
down, motherfucker.
They didn't do her any justice, did they?
But another issue is that people took with it is that they're like, the actress that's playing Snow White, she's like, we're we're gonna be completely different or whatever from the original story. Why do the original story?
That's why you're making the movie, right?
Fuck.
You're making the movie because you are doing a remake of Snow White.
Well, we just lost this game.
What makes Snow White Snow White? The story around it, right? You can call anybody Cinderella, but that doesn't make them Cinderella. The reason why Cinderella is Cinderella because of the story surrounding Cinderella. Again, you won't see me watching the movie because I could not give two flying fucks.
About Cinderella.
Or Snow White too. I'm saying when the movie comes out. So
I know Cinderella.
I won't be able to say if they did follow the story or not, right? My problem is that it's another okay, like you said, the one that came out, the first one came out in 1937, like nearly 90 years ago, right? 87 years ago. So I understand why you want to make a remake. Understandable, right? Yeah. But we made a remake of The Lion King. Oh, scratch that. We now have another remake of The Lion King that's coming out next year.
It's not a remake. It's a prequel.
Whatever. But it's not an original idea. Right? You're piggybacking off the already that intellectual property.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's not an original IP. It is an original idea where they're telling the story of Mufasa. But yeah, it's not an original IP. They're just cashing in on the IP.
Right. Like it's the same thing with Snow White. You're going to probably the movie cost $209 million. I'm looking at it right now. It's gonna make that back because first of all, you have everybody that goes and watch and says that Disney can do no wrong. They're gonna watch every Disney movie. But then you're gonna get, it's Snow White. Let's go see it. So they know it's gonna work. And so there's less risk involved in it. Like, when was the last time an original IP movie came out, not a comedy, an original IP movie came out that was actually, that came out and was like the blockbuster one of the year? You know, we had Top Gun. Oh, wait, Maverick. Oh, wait, that already that was an already set IP. It was a sequel. You had the remake of Little Mermaid. Oh, wait, that's another remake. You had Lion King. Oh, that was another remake. The prequel, while you're already piggybacking off that IP. Now, obviously, all the superhero movies they're all going to be piggybacked, right? Because there's no more superheroes. But, they made a second Incredibles movie, piggybacking off the first one. There's 4 Toy Story movies. There's another fucking Moana movie, right? The only TV or the only studio that kind of creates new shit is Pixar. But even their shit as of late has been ass. But outside of that, there's no new IPs coming in. It's all fucking sequels or prequels. It's still a sequel because it's another movie within the franchise. There's nothing new.
Let's see. Here we go. You ready? In Time, that came out in 2011. Rated at a 6.7, not a blockbuster.
Not a blockbuster.
I'm going to say, okay, what?
If
70 or above, right?
I would say 80 or above has to be a blockbuster.
80 or above, okay. Another Earth, 2011, 6.9, not a blockbuster. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, 2008, 7.8. Close, but not quite.
No, you're getting there, but you're close.
Knowing came out in 2009, 6.2. Not, yeah. Dogma, 1999, 7.3. The Sixth Sense came out in 1999, 8.2. Unbreakable came out in 2000, 7.3. Fight Club came out in 1999, 8.8. Forrest Gump came out in 1994, 8.8. Alien came out in 1979, 8.5. Oh, this is one that isn't in the 1900s. Spirited Away, 2001, 8.6. The Elephant Man, 1980, 8.2. Blade Runner, 1982, with an 8.1. Groundhog Day, 1993, guess what it is? 8.0. So, I could keep going, like Princess Bride, 8.0, Stand By Me, 8.1. Truman Show, 8.2. Even Avatar, their first Avatar, 7.9. Youch. Just barely misses the mark.
Yeah, we'll give it to him. It's close enough.
Rounding
error.
Big Fish, 8.0. 2000. That's another. There's not a whole lot of movies, like you said, that are original and are at least blockbuster hits.
Right. Like the latest
They all
one you
came out
said
in the
was
90s.
right. The latest one you said. Well, when you said Avatar, you talked about the James Cameron ones.
2009. Yep,
Okay.
2009.
That came out. But the newest one you said that I think we gave a true ding for was 2011. Basically, 14 years ago was the last time that a good one came out that was a blockbuster. And it doesn't have to be like you can make obviously a sequel out of good movies, right? If you start off with a good idea, right? Back to the Future. That was a new idea, turned into be 3 movies. That's fine, right? But you ended it at 3 because 3 movies overall tends to be a trilogy tends to be good enough, right? But that was a new idea right off the bat. Okay?
Yeah.
Rambo. New idea right off the bat, worked, right? Rocky. Now there end up being about 4 too fucking many Rocky movies, but Rocky, good right off the bat. What do all those things have in common? 80s, late 70s and 80s. Like if you look at it, the best movies that came out of Hollywood was in the late 70s and the 80s. And I will die on that hill. You look at the most popular movies ever, it's going to be late 70s, 80s, maybe early 90s if it ended up being like a trilogy and it ran into the 90s. And it's just, that was the golden era of Hollywood. And I understand that you can't always be sitting at pegged at a 10, kicking out gangbuster movies with new IPs and shit like that. But it's been a long time since we've had a new IP came out that was actually good. And they could go and run with it, right? Why did Disney bring back Star Wars? Because they felt like they didn't have enough money. Again, not a new IP. You're just recycling. You're just using the other one. You're just using the Star Wars name. And everybody thought, the Force Awakens. Everybody was like, it's all right. But then after that, each one got progressively shittier and shittier. For the most part, started all going downhill. So it's just there's nothing original coming out of Hollywood.
I do have to say, probably
other than like the one-off movies. But even then, you never hear them being blockbusters.
Prime example, A24. Do you know who they are?
A24?
Yeah, film company.
No.
They made like Swiss Army Man, Ex Machina. You'll probably know the
what?
More. Get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm good.
More modern movies, I guess. Like The Lighthouse has Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson in it.
Okay.
Uncut Gems, that was another one, I guess. With Adam Sandler. What else? I'm trying to think. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I've heard of that one. I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I heard that one was pretty good. That's A24. And these are all original ideas.
Yeah.
But, like, they're one of the very few people that would actually... The issue is that people are sticking with what they're comfortable with, right?
Well, they're sticking with the low-risk projects.
Yeah, low risk. That's right off of this IP. And if it goes down, who cares?
Right.
The most recent one was the Iron Claw. Not the most recent one, but the Iron Claw 2023. Civil War. Maxine. Maxxine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I don't know any of the other ones that are on here except for the well-known ones because they're like, hey, these are pretty good.
Right. But you said it's from A24. I've not heard of that film company, okay? It's not Paramount. It's not Universal. It's not Disney. It's not, any of the
Sony.
big name. Yeah, Sony. It's not any of the big name film studios.
Unfortunately, Sony.
Yeah. The big name, like, those studios have the most money to play around with. Yet they keep doing the low risk shit, but still spending $209 million to make a fucking Snow White reboot. Are you serious? $209 million to make a fucking movie? Like, oh my God, man. I mean, it's the same thing with the gaming industry. You know, you have Call of Duty that's come out with like 20 fucking games. They're all basing off the Call of Duty thing. But you never hear of you hardly ever hear of a new IP making a big splash anymore in gaming. It's all using IPs, previous IPs.
Right.
You know, Call of Duty every year makes Activision, now Microsoft, billions of dollars. So of course they're going to keep that going. As long as you make the games good.
I'm going to have to cut in. I think nowadays there's a lot more people playing indie games, right? Like,
yeah, because they're getting tired of the fucking studios that have all this money that make shit games. Right? Like, you have the budget to make a fucking great game, yet you keep playing it safe. You don't take any risks. There's no innovation within your games. Right. It's the same shit over and over again.
We gotta be the change. Motherfucker. No.
You know, what made the original Modern Warfare trilogy awesome? Right? Now, if you look at just
fresh.
Well, it was fresh, but okay, the first one, you're going against Zakayev, right? And you do kill him at the end.
Right.
But it's not the end because there was still other shit going on. Then the second one starts off and it's a mix between, you know, you starting off, you're fighting against Makarov and all that shit. But then it turns out Shepard's dirty. And so it ends with killing Shepard, but that's not the end of the story because the big fish is still out there that you want to kill, being Makarov. So it's like each one led to another one without being on like a generic ass cliffhanger. You know, I was like, yeah, okay, here's the main story. We want to kill. This is the main perpetual bad guy, right? He needs to die. But we don't want to do it at the end of this game. No, we're going to somehow entwine another bad guy who will be the death at the end of this game. And then but it'll still tie in with the overall villain. Yeah. And they don't do that anymore. It's like you always kill the villain at the end of the game. And it's just like, oh, what the hell?
And they don't do it like Black Ops 2, where Menendez is part of the entire game the entire fucking time.
Right.
He's just a pain in your dick.
Right. Like the Black Ops 6, right? Harrow is the villain, apparently, and she has like 20 minutes of total fucking screen time. Like, you know nothing of her until that one mission where you're like, oh, she's actually fucking in on the Pantheon. Okay, that came out of fucking left field. Like, she was so unassuming to be the fucking villain. Like, obviously, Makarov, villain, right? Did no Russian. Certified villain status right there, right? Okay. But other than that, okay, Menendez, his was Black Ops 2 was revolved around Menendez the whole game. The entire game was revolving around, was around him. Okay. We knew who the bad guy was the whole time. We knew what the light at the end of the tunnel, I guess you want to call it, is. But with other games, we don't know. Modern Warfare 3, you're not going to include that because that was the reboot. Sorry. That was trash. That was the worst fucking Call of Duty game ever made. Right?
Yeah.
And outside of the World War II, outside of the World War II games, because that's obviously obvious what that one's about, right? Obviously, like World at War, you're jumping between the Eastern and Western fronts. World War II, right? You're fighting the Eastern Front, you're taking over Nazi Germany and all that shit. But all the other ones, it's just like, who are we really fighting here? And I think that's why people didn't like Call of Duty Ghost, is because it's like there wasn't really a true villain per se. Like, there was, but there wasn't. Yeah. It didn't help that Ghost followed the Modern Warfare trilogy. That sure as hell didn't help, right? Like, you just ended at the fucking top.
Right.
You know, and it's like, everybody's like, oh, this is great. It's Infinity Ward's turn. Let's have this new game come out. It's going to be great. Oh, shucks. What the fuck? You know? And I didn't personally think Ghost was that bad. I think it got a lot.
No, I didn't think it. I thought it was pretty good too.
I think what hurt, like I said, what hurt it is that it followed Modern Warfare. That trilogy is like, shit, man.
So yeah, it's a lot like the MCU with every movie following Endgame, right? You're ending at the very fucking top, and then all of a sudden, you got all these trash ass movies coming out, or what seemingly are trash ass movies, and they're not.
Right.
Dude, Colton, I think we're gonna lose this game.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
It's only 26-7 at the end of the first half.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
But it's just like it's not centered around the main character, right? Obviously, at the end of the MCU thing, we knew who the bad guy was, Thanos. We knew that, right? We spent a lot of time on that. Understood, right? Obviously, with Batman, it's Joker. Understandable, right? That's what it's all centered around.
But it doesn't always have to be Joker.
Right, it doesn't always have to be Joker, but that like I said, he's like the Makarov, but there could be other things along the way, right?
Yeah.
So but it keeps leading you, it can lead you down the story path where it's like if you just keep making these one-off stories, you're going to run out of shit for villains, right? And it's hard to build up a villain to be a true villain when you only give them 90 minutes.
Yep. That's
very difficult. Or within a game, if you only have them on screen for 10 minutes before you find out that they're actually the villain. And then you're just like, what? What? How? I don't, why? You had 4 years to make this game. Why? It's just, but it's being safe, other than the Omni movement in Black Ops 6, what other innovation was there?
Right.
My point, my point exactly
sure,
right
dude.
there. Even the open world thing was done the year before in Modern Warfare 3. Was done better, but still was done before.
That's another thing. I actually didn't mind the open world mission this time. I still don't enjoy it.
I don't either. I hope they don't do it again.
No. If they do it again, I hope it's almost exactly like Black Ops 6. Because Black Ops 6 allowed you to choose if you wanted to do all of the open world things. Otherwise, you just play it like a normal mission, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you could, but it's just, but at the same time, it's like everything was it was the same. It was all the same, right? There was nothing different. And I think the problem is that it was too big of a map and it took too long, right? Like, you could speed run and do the 3 missile things, but amongst those 3 missile things, it was the same thing. You would go in, you try to do it stealthy because it's easier, right? Kill as many as you can. Oh, you go loud, kill them, blow up the missile. Check. Next one. Go there, show up, try to do stealthy, kill as many as you can. Oh, got made. Go loud, blow up the missile. Check. Move on to the next one. Go there, be stealthy. Be stealthy. Try not to get made. Oh, you got made. Kill as all as you can. Blow it up. Check it off. Go back to it's the same. It was the same thing 3 times over.
Not for me.
Well, if whatever.
I was out here, I was like, shit. Literally doing the right play-by-play. Show up. Try to be sneaky. Kill some guys and stay sneaky. That's right. I'm sneaking around.
Well, I was trying to stay. I think I stayed sneaky for most of them too. But it's the same thing over and over again.
No,
there was nothing. Saying, yes. At least when they did the end of the story, when you're being Harrow and you're getting the mirror shards, it was something different for those 3 times. Like one of them, you had to go.
That shit was fucking creepy, dude.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I think they're trying to I get Black Ops has those kind of outlandish story ideas, right? Like,
but I liked it.
I think it was good, but it was just the problem is you did it with a character where no one gave a fuck about.
Yeah,
it wasn't like when you did it with Mason in Black Ops 1. Like the whole story centered around the interrogation of Mason and Victor Reznor.
What the numbers mean, Mason?
Yeah, like that is how it should be done. If you're going to do something like that, that was perfect. Right? Now you don't need to go fucking total crack addict like you did in Black Ops 3 because that was it didn't help that game was terrible anyways. But if you would have done it to somebody who actually imagine if they would have done that to Adler.
Right.
Give a little bit more backstory of why Adler is the way he is. Obviously, he is the greatest addition to the Black Ops franchise. I mean, he was fucking great in Cold War, right? In all that stuff. Well, you don't even have to do Adler. You could do Bell, your own character. I understand you'd be recycling, but with Bell, it's like you played Bell the whole time. And then we figure out why is he the way he is. It's because it's because of Adler, but it's like with Harrow, it's like we don't know who she is and we don't care about her. And so that hurts the game overall as a whole. When you don't care about them, it doesn't matter how good the story is if it's about a character no one cares about. So it's being safe and not taking risks because you're just piggybacking off the Call of Duty name, because people don't necessarily play it for the campaign. They play it for the multiplayer. But if you're like me, I do like good campaigns in Call of Duty. I'd like to have a good campaign in a Call of Duty game. So, but all right, let's wrap this up and move on to our bangers of the week, Dylan. What is your banger of the week?
Banger of the week is Michael Bublé. Dracula's kid.
We finally beat Medicare.
Oh, we didn't even tell the new viewers. There is none, but if there is, we're doing bangers of the week as Christmas songs.
Oh yes,
December.
Throughout December. So, and we're going to include obviously next week. Will be it, and then I think we'll do one more after that because I wanted 4 weeks worth, but we obviously skipped a week, so we'll figure it out for sure.
Well, yeah, we'll do one more. Mine is Michael Bublé. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, okay, generic ass shit. That's fine.
All right. I don't mind his singing.
I don't disagree. He's not a bad singer.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Mine
everywhere you go. Gotta get that 30s era. That shitty ass quality. Everywhere you go. It's like, what the fuck am I listening to?
It's now with my banger of the week, which you can obviously listen to all our bangers of the week on our Spotify playlist, which you can find in the description of every podcast episode. It's with me, I don't like many Christmas songs because kind of goes back to the movie thing. They're all the same. Right? They're all the same. Amongst them all, the only difference is who sings it. That's the only difference. So, but that doesn't mean that someone can't do a good job singing a said Christmas song. With it being, I think, the best rendition of this particular song being The Little Drummer Boy is by Bob Seger. That is, hands down, fight me if you want, doesn't matter because you're wrong. That is the best rendition of The Little Drummer Boy is Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. That end of story. Pack it up, go home. If you have a different opinion, well, forget about it because you're wrong. Nothing's going to beat that. It's a great rendition of that song. So, all right. Dylan, what is before we move on to something I was hoping would have came out when we came their last episode 2 weeks ago, but it came out about 2 days after we recorded. Fucking assholes. Thank you for listening to this first part of this episode of the Functional Idiots podcast. Part 2 will be out in just a couple days. And until then, don't be dumb.